Hey everyone, welcome back to another video. Today I wanted to talk about space, the so-called final frontier, and more specifically, whether humanity is actually viable as a multi-planetary species in the way people confidently claim. As a disclaimer, I am not a scientist, I am just a regular guy who has a partial interest in space and wanted to share my thoughts and concerns that I've had for a while now. As you know, Elon Musk has infamously regurgitated the notion that humans need to colonize Mars, as it would be important as part of preserving the human race and allow us to get closer to a Type 2 civilization. For those of you who may not know what that means, it's based on the Kardashev scale, which is a method of measuring a civilization's level of technological advancement based on the amount of energy it is capable of harnessing and using. A Type 1 civilization fully utilizes the energy of its home planet, a Type 2 harnesses the energy of its star, and a Type 3 controls energy on a galactic scale. On paper, it sounds great. There's no doubt that humanity will reach Mars and other planets at some point in the distant future. However, my concerns mostly lie with the way we are going about it. It feels like we are chasing a new potential home while disregarding the current home we have now. My concern isn't about reaching Mars per se, it's about the idea of settling it, and why we're so eager to do so while our current home planet is actively deteriorating. People like Elon are so confident that we might colonize Mars in the future, yet we can't even reverse desertification in places like the Sahara back here on Earth. Heck, we can't even agree on climate policy, how to manage pollution, or even universally acknowledge the severity of environmental collapse. We're chasing a new potential home while neglecting the one we already have, which is, by every measurable metric, perfectly optimized for us. And then there are other things that I have been thinking about. Let's say we do make it to Mars, and we successfully establish a base of operation. Forget bringing these humans back, because that's an entirely different problem. I want you to think about something before I get to my point. Do you know how many living organisms there are on this planet right now? It has been estimated to be around 8.7 million species on Earth, of which we've currently only been able to catalog approximately 1.5 million species in description. Anyways, 8.7 million species on Earth, and we humans are virtually the only species with the level of intellect and consciousness to be aware of such a number. Whether you choose to believe that we were created or we evolved, the fact of the matter is, we are one of a kind, a miracle or an anomaly on Earth. I brought that up to drive home this point. We don't know what will happen to the human species if we live on another planet. What happens to us when those conditions change? I know it's fun to think about how we might adapt and evolve on different surfaces of the planet, but no one ever questions the possibility that we might lose the very thing that defines us on the planet, which is our intelligence, consciousness, creativity, and abstract reasoning. Never mind our physiology, because that's guaranteed to take a hit. And truth be told, we assume we can survive and evolve on the planet. But what if our quote-unquote evolutionary capacity is limited and confined to a certain environmental condition? What if our biology is tightly coupled to Earth in ways we don't yet fully understand? Even if we find an Earth-like planet, there is no guarantee we might be compatible with that planet. Even a planet with 75% Earth-like similarity doesn't mean we'll adapt in a way that actually guarantees optimality. It very well may be very detrimental to us longevity-wise. It represents a massive deviation from the environment that shaped us over hundreds of thousands of years. The point I am trying to make is that even just a 1% difference raises so many levels of uncertainty and unpredictability for us as a species. We're talking about differences in atmospheric composition, gravity, radiation exposure, or microbial life that could introduce cascading effects on cognition, reproduction, and longevity, even at just 1%. And let's not forget the hypothetical extraterrestrial ecosystems on these new alien planets. We barely understand and know approximately 15% of the species we have already discovered, and there are approximately 85% more we haven't discovered. We have no idea if the life there, if any, is compatible with us in the slightest. What if we bring them a disease that wipes them out, or they are the ones with an unknown disease that wipes us out? Not to mention that most of these Earth-like planets that we've discovered so far are light years away. Interstellar travel introduces challenges we may not be able to account for that go far beyond engineering, things like radiation exposure, generational psychological effects, genetic drift, and survival during centuries-long journeys. I doubt any species could survive the journey, or if it's even worth it to begin with. It may work in sci-fi, but not in reality. You get the idea. Mars to me just seems out of the question for a very long time, and shouldn't even be seen as a possible home for humanity. It has no magnetosphere, minimal atmosphere, extreme radiation exposure, and gravity that will almost certainly degrade human physiology over generations. At best, it will be treated as a planet for resource extraction, which is likely the true reason for the motivation. And then there's the genetic pool question that no one wants to talk about, or maybe it has been talked about and I wasn't aware of it. Anyways, if we decide to send humans to Mars or other planets, how much genetic variation of the human species are we sending? Because if we send a small population to another planet, we are effectively bottlenecking our species. The size and diversity of that initial gene pool will determine long-term survivability. It doesn't seem like that is being accounted for, and whether people like it or not, Thanagarians are the most suited to be sent to space in larger numbers than any other racial group due to their sheer genetic diversity. From a purely biological standpoint, we are statistically better candidates for long-term adaptation due to our sheer genetic diversity. If any group has a chance for genetically adapting to be able to produce offspring that will survive on a different planet, it would likely be us. However, the problem is that we are not as involved in space exploration as the other groups are, so there's no doubt we are being neglected in that regard. If space colonization truly were about human survival, genetic diversity would be central to the conversation. Well, that's what I think. Anyways, the final aspect of why I wanted to make this video is because of how it frustrates me that some people are eagerly pursuing this endeavor to live on another planet and disregarding the only optimal planet that we humans spawned into. We are too eager to abandon Earth and talk about Mars as a backup plan, an uncertain Plan B, while actively failing our guaranteed Plan A. In my opinion, we should not be looking to the stars until the Earth has been made into a guaranteed haven. I remember when the virus that shall not be named on YouTube took over the planet for 2 years, and I saw how the Earth legitimately healed due to the lack of pollution that was released. It became painfully obvious how much damage we inflict daily and how quickly things can improve when we stop. It made me realize how little we take care of the only home world we have right now, and yet we feel so arrogant to think we are ready to take on another planet. Yet instead of learning from that, we've instead doubled down on extraction and consumption. We never seem to learn until the fire is right outside our doorstep. When you think about the Kardashev scale, for example, its main measurement, if I am not mistaken, is our ability to consume. We don't seem to have a scale of measurement for our ability to preserve. Well, to be fair, it would probably require multiple axes for a preservation scale, given the multifaceted ways it can be measured and agreed upon. And that's part of the issue. We can barely agree upon things like global warming, yet feel ready to pursue another planet. And honestly, I've had doubts that it's done for the pursuit of knowledge and the secrets of the universe at this point, and more so to see who can gather the most resources and put their group on top of the game. Look, I am curious about the universe as the next guy, but not if it comes at the detriment of the only planet we have 100% guarantee of survival rate. If we can't ensure that Earth remains habitable for the next millennium, what guarantee do we have that we'll survive on another planet? We have problems here on Earth that we haven't solved, or worse, are refusing to solve, and they need to be addressed. Anyways, that's just my opinion on this matter. Let me know what you guys think of this topic. Be sure to hit the like button and subscribe for more, and I'll catch you guys next time. Peace.